Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and we're gonna do something a little bit different today. I have three main hobbies, and two of them you see on a normal rotation on this channel. I have lots of books that I love to read, and then I like planning a lot. It helps keep me organized, it's fun, and I like playing with stickers. So two of the other big things that I like to do with my time is photography, which I have not done at all lately. I need to get back into it. It was a massive love of mine. I had a very bad college professor that ruined my love for photography, and so I've been really working on it ever since to try to get it back. So hopefully my Instagram will start looking beautiful as soon as I get some more props and figure out what I'm doing, because I really want to get back to taking pictures. But the other thing that I've been doing for years and years and years that I very seldom show on this channel is my sewing. So I would like to do a little bit more sewing, but I figured to like start us off, I did a little basket thing that I found, and I kind of augmented it to fit my stickers, and I did a video on that. So this time I'm going to do a video on these. So I take my book absolutely everywhere with me, and I absolutely love having a nice protective sleeve for it to go in. This is one I made for myself. It was like and just little string still hanging off of it because it was just for me. But I've seen a lot of people that buy these, and they are quite expensive. I've seen ones this size for like $30, and it was not that expensive to make it. And I have tons of supplies here, so I figured that I would just show you how to make them yourselves. So to start off with, to get the size I wanted, I picked a book out from my shelf over here. So the biggest book that I have that's easy to access is this one. This is one of the biggest books I have on my shelf, and it is A Court of Mist and Fury. The funny thing is that the next book in the series is actually got more pages, but they're thinner. So this has got nice thick pages. We're gonna measure a book, so let's see how this works. I'm not quite sure how we're gonna do this just yet, but we'll figure it out together. Okay, so here's my book and a little tape measure that I have. And to give us a basic idea of how we're gonna do this, I start off by measuring the book in a couple of different ways. So this book is 9.5 inches long by 6.5-ish inches wide. And then it is also 2 inches tall. And so we need to make sure that this is big enough to cover all of that stuff. So if you take your 9.5 inches and you add your 2 inches, it's gonna bring you out to about 11.5 inches. And then again, if you take your 6.5 inches and add 2 inches, it's gonna be about 8.5 inches. But you need to make sure you have enough for both sides. So it's kind of like, you know, because you want it to wrap around the entire thing. This is the biggest book I have, and I actually built this to fit. And so if we're looking at about 10.5, 11 inches by about 8.5 inches, and we need to have a little bit of room for our seam allowances, we're gonna add another inch. So we're gonna make this 11.5 by 9.5, I think. Let's just double check. So we have 9.5. Brings us down to 11.5. We'll add 1/2 inch to make it 12. And then we have 6.5 by 2 inches is 8.5. And then we'll add another 1/2 inch to make it 9. So when this is done, it should be able to fit this book if it is 9.5 by 12, which I know is not quite what this one is. I measured this one out, and I think this one is 9.5 by 11.5, but I'm not positive. So the first thing I have is this. This is batting. Let me show you the package. So this is the batting I use. It is Interform Plus. It's a stabilizer, and it's also fusible. It gives the bag its structure. So you can crumble it all up and it'll pop back into place. It does that for it. And this is the one I like the best because it has a stabilizer and it's fusible at the same time. So all I have to do is put heat to it and everything will stick. So this is one thing that you're gonna need. And then you're also gonna need some fabrics. And so because of, there's a viewer that I wanna send this to, I got some really pretty fabric that has Beauty and the Beast on it, because I thought that she would like that a lot. So I need 2 pieces of this, 2 pieces of this, and then I need 2 pieces of an inside fabric. And I was thinking about using this one because it's just a pretty fabric, no one's really gonna see it, and I don't want to detract from this one. I also have this scene. And this one actually might go a little bit better because there's already yellow in it, so they kind of match together. So that's what we're gonna do. What do you guys think? I have the yellow here and I have the yellow here. And this is kind of just, it's to go on the inside, so you're not really gonna see it. It's just to be something pretty on the inside. And I like this fabric, but I only have this much left. And so I wanna be able to just use it without hacking up a lot of other stuff. I think I'm gonna stick to this one because this is the one I picked out for to begin with. But I think that both pieces are really pretty. Okay, so what we do here is I just have a nice big ruler, and then I have my rotary cutter. I need to change the blade on this too because the blade on this is getting kind of dull. But I have my rotary cutter and I have my ruler, and I will just measure this out and give it a good cut. If you guys need cutting instructions or a video to show you how, just let me know. I'm going to just go ahead and cut this out really quick because the angle's weird and I don't want to, you know, keep it this angle for very long. Okay, so here is my fabric, both of them cut out. And we're gonna take my iron and just lightly press out the wrinkles because this top one is pretty wrinkle free. This bottom one definitely needs a little bit of TLC to get some of this wrinklage out. Just like this. It would be perfect if we had starch, but my starch did not make the move for some reason because it was a liquid and can't transport liquids. All right, so why do I only have one piece? All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is take the batting or the fusible interface or whatever it is you wanna call it, and we're going to fuse the panel on top of it. So that way the panel is nice and stuck to it. So we just take it and we have a nice hot iron and just slowly go over the top of it. Hopefully this is all in frame and working well. I did the other one, I did this like this from a different angle and I wanted to try something different. Okay, now it's nice and fused together. Oh, it's nice and hot too. All right, and then we take the second piece and do the same. So you want these attached to the top, to the outside. So whatever's your other fabric you're gonna have on the outside of your book liner, that's what you want this fused to. If you can't find fusible, that's totally fine. You just stitch it into place. I'm gonna stitch over this anyways, just to kind of give it that little bit of a quilty look to it. And because it's just easier to work with that way. I need to put more water in that thing. Okay, so now that that's done, we are going to move on to the next step. We're going to start putting it all together. All right, so hopefully this is viewable. You'll be able to see what I'm doing. So what I'm gonna do is, because there's already a pattern on this fabric, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go along with the lines on the fabric. I'm just gonna do a few of them here and there just to kind of give it a little bit of extra lookiness. I don't know, however you wanna say that. As you can maybe see, there's just a little bit of stitching through it just to, you know, hold it in place better. You can see it on the back really well. Just to keep it so that way it stays together and looks a little prettier. And then I'll do it again on the next one. Okay, so now we have two constructed pieces of the outside of the bag. So each of them has a couple of stitches to give a little bit of an embellishment to it and to help keep the pieces together and to give it that quilted look. This part is totally optional. You don't have to do the quilted part unless you don't have a fusible interfacing. I did it on this one, and as you can see, it's not straight at all. Having the lines to follow helps a lot, but I'm still very novice when it comes to sewing straight lines. And so I just kind of, you know, put one or two in just to, you know, give it a little bit of an accent. I actually might put one more right here because that's gonna bother me. Okay, well, I could just keep going and going and going, so I'm gonna stop. Now, this part is the easiest part, I think, but it's also the most, you have to keep things straight. Okay, so you want your first piece of the outside facing up. Then you want to take your, if I can grab it, first piece of your inside and face it down. Just like this. And then I just want one stitch across the top. Okay, now we're gonna start putting it together. So you're gonna open it up like this, and then you're gonna open up this side and lay it on top. So you want the pretty sides facing each other. Now I have clips and pins, and apparently I was goofing off one day. I can't remember doing that. Okay, so I have my little winder clips, I have some pins, I have all sorts of little things in here. And I like to use the Wonder Clips for this particular project because it helps keep things together better. And they're nice and thick and they're easy to clamp. So what you do is you take it and you meet up with the 2 points right here. This is the most important part to make sure that you have the same. These pieces are not exactly the same size. Awesome. When I mess up, I do it good. Okay, so we're gonna just take it, we're gonna meet them up. My pieces of batting are slightly different sizes. I accidentally cut one of my pieces an inch too short, so I had to go and find another piece that was almost the same size. And as you can tell, they're a little bit off, but the little bit that they're off is hardly anything at all, so I don't worry about it too much. Partially because most of that's gonna be stuck inside of the seam allowance anyways, and so it really won't matter. It'll actually cut down a little bit on the excess bulk. Okay, and then you want to clip all of your sides. You can use, like I said, you can use pins, you can use whatever is easiest for you. So what I'm gonna do is I am not going to stitch the bottom at all. Some people stitch it and just leave a little hole. I don't stitch it at all because I like the way it looks better. No eating pins. I like the way it looks better when it's finished. To me, it just looks more polished. Not to have, no, get out of there. Go. Not to have this part. Okay, I'm back. My memory card got full, so I had to go dump it. And so what I was talking about was I don't do the bottom, that some people leave a gap for you to reach your hand in and pull through. I don't leave the gap. I just leave the whole side open because I find it easier to pull it through, get it all perfect, and then sew it up. That way you only have, this whole thing is, to me it just looks better. It's just a personal aesthetic. So I've been doing a lot of unboxings over the last couple of months, and my son was in charge of taking the boxes down after every time and hasn't, and so now my cat's playing in it. So if you hear noise in the background, that's why. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start here at the corner. I'm gonna go all the way down and around the bottom, and then back up the other side, and then just leave this little spot here open. Okay, so now it is stitched all the way around. If you want, you can take a pair of scissors and snip the end right near where you've done stitching and just pull off a tiny bit of the bulk from the corners, and it makes it turn easier. But you don't have to do that, it's just an optional. Okay, so I left the whole bottom open because, like I said, it just makes it easier for me to move things around. Now we're gonna take it and you're gonna poke the little ends in with your fingers, and then you're just going to pull the whole thing through. This is why I don't like stitching the bottom. It's easier for me to pull it through if I don't have to worry about that part as well. And there is the front of your little pouch with a string hanging out the end. Now you just have to do the bottom. So now you take the bottom and you pinch the corners just like this, and you flip it so you have a little bit of a roll underneath, and then you take it. Let me grab my little ironing board. So you take it, you pinch it, and then you hold it in place, and then you give it a quick little iron, just like this, to hold it in place for you. And then you take it back to the sewing machine and you just zip a little strip right alongside. And you want it to be fairly close to the edge, so normally I do about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. For this I do a little less. I do more of 1/8 of an inch just so that it is closed but doesn't take up too much extra space. Okay, so now it's nice and closed and it's not going to come open, and it just makes it easier to work with personally. Now you're going to take it and you're going to shove it inside the bag. Make sure the corners kind of go all the way into the corners, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to iron it just over the top, so that way all the pieces kind of stick together. Because this is fusible on both sides, it will kind of help the inside adhere by putting a little bit of heat on the outside. It doesn't do a great job, it just kind of just holds it in place. And now you have this top that I don't want to see. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to fold it under just like this, and then I'm going to put a little top stitch around the edge to keep it from showing this little bit of extra on the top. I will a lot of times just take a little bit of a help from my clips and just periodically put them around the outside edge, usually mostly on the corners to help keep those corners down, because those corners have extra bulk, and so they make it just a tiny bit harder to do. So then we take one and put it over here in the middle, and then take my last one and put it back over here in the corner. And this has got a string that I want to flip. Now your sizing may not be perfect, this one may not be perfect. I'm a little worried that because I know that the sizes are just a little tiny bit different than they were the first time around, so I'm a little bit wary if this is going to fit quite right, but it's still a good size, so it will fit a good size book regardless. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start kind of near the corner, After this part's done, I'll get the inside heated up a little bit more. So we're gonna start kind of by the corner, like right over here, and then we're just gonna stitch about 1/2 inch. So you want it to be about this big all the way around, just to kind of give it a little bit of embellishment so it looks pretty too. So now that top is all done, it's got a nice pretty embellishment. And I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna slide it around the inside just a little bit to help hold everything down. And this part's not needed, I mean, it's just the inside. You don't have to look perfect. But I just kind of wanna give it a little extra stickage. Okay. And there we have it, all done and very pretty. So let me put you back up so you can see my face again. So this one is definitely a little bit of a different size. I didn't mean to do it that way. I meant to make them the same size, but one's just a tiny bit shorter than the other one. So let's see how well this fits the book I'm looking for. It still fits. The end does stick out just the tiniest little bit, which is a little bit of a bummer. I made it just a little bit too short. I had a feeling this was the right size and this was just a little slightly different. Let's see how it fits other books. We have paperback. Fits it with plenty of room left over. Let's find another hardcover book. Slide it in, fits perfect. This one's just a really, really big book. So that's the only reason that one's a little bit snugger. Another book from the same series. It fits great. So yeah, this is the little pouch I made, and you see the sides are all cute and pretty. And I think it's a good size. If I make another one, I'll make it just a tiny bit longer. And I was looking at it, and I was trying to figure out if I'd made it just a tiny bit too short. I really would have gone for the extra 1/2 inch. This one is an 11.5, this is 11. And if you can see, that little bit does make a little bit of a difference. But I still think it came out beautiful, and it does fit most books. It even fits this big fat hunker. It just sticks out just the tiniest little bit, which is not a big deal whatsoever because it's still gonna protect it. Even this big ginormous one. See? Nice and protected in your bag. So yeah, if you have any questions, if you want any more information, just let me know and I will share whatever I have, and I will try to link at least the interfacing down in the description box. I got this fabric from an Etsy shop. I know that you can get the outside fabric from most Joann's, but I don't have a Joann's here. And so I needed to just order it from an Etsy shop. And then the inside fabric came from a big fat quarter that I got from Fat Quarter Shop. But I will put everything in the description box for you guys. So I'll try to find, I'll figure out which Etsy shop I used and I'll put that in there. And then I'll put Fat Quarter Shop in there as well. Just so you can see where I get my supplies from. And I get my supplies from all over the place. Just kind of depends on who has what that I need and if they will ship to this island or not. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial on how to make a book sleeve. And I would love to share more of my sewing with you guys. I do make quilts. My machine kind of bites for quilts because getting them together is too difficult. But I would love to show you guys more of my sewing adventures. So let me know what you guys want to see next and I will get that up for you. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.